what's up? Welcome to Day-to-Day Ray with me, your girl Ray Ray. So now we're working on the Minnie Mouse cupcakes and the Minnie Mouse cake for 3-year-old Bella. So let me show you what we have so far. So here's the cupcake toppers. I just put the dots on today. They were white, but they turned pink, but it's okay. I kind of messed up on a couple spaces. They're still drying, even though I put alcohol in them. They're still taking a little while to dry. I don't know why, but I think I'm going to put a bee on here for Bella. And then I just need to make the cupcakes and assemble them. Now, I actually forgot to record the intro to this because I've been working on these and the Valentine's Day cupcakes this week, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of the video and haven't recorded an intro. So, with that being said, I already have the cake in the freezer. It's got its first crumb coat of strawberry frosting. Then I'm going to put a plain vanilla frosting once that gets nice and hard. And then we're going to roll out some fondant and start decorating. But for now, I need to order dinner because I don't have time to cook right now. And yeah, so it's actually kind of late. It's 8 o'clock at night. I've been cleaning, trying to get the kitchen together. We're out of paper towels, so I'm like, ooh, oh my gosh. So yeah, a little busy. All right, guys, let's get right into this video. All right, let's start with the cupcake toppers. I rolled out some white fondant and I cut out 24 circles for the cupcakes. I ordered these Mickey Mouse head cookie cutters from Amazon. They look more like Winnie the Pooh, but it is what it is. So I cut out 12 of those, and then I cut out 12 number 3s. Now, what I'm doing here is I rolled out some black fondant, and I'm using one of the cookie cutters to make the ears for on top of the number 3. So then I rolled out red fondant and cut out the 3, but then I cut the 3 in half because that's going to be the bottom half of Minnie Mouse's dress. And I'm turning the number 3 into a little Minnie Mouse. Now I ordered this little cutter set from wish.com. It's actually a little tag cutter, but it has the perfect size bow for these cupcake toppers. So that is what I'm using right now. I'm just rolled out little squares. I press the bow on it, and then I just kind of flick it out and get the bows. Now I'm putting all of my little pieces on top of the cupcake toppers, and these will harden for like 3 days, I think, because I did these on a Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So these hardened really well for 3 days. Another little detail that I did that I don't know if you noticed, I took my little tool that I usually use to pick things up, and I put the 4 little lines by the bow to give the little bows some dimension and flow. So for this cake right here, I'm just cutting off all the caramelization. They wanted a strawberry cake, and I made some strawberry buttercream to put on the inside. And then for my final coat, I'm just going to use a regular buttercream. I'm filling it here, and once I fill it and stack it, I'm going to cut the edges off and of course pop it in the freezer. So here goes that strawberry buttercream layer. Now that my strawberry buttercream is nice and firm and out of the freezer, I'm now just adding my vanilla buttercream and making it smooth. I'm going to take my bench scraper, and then once everything's nice and smooth, I'm going to pop it back in the freezer and let it harden. Now I'm going to start working on the bow. I rolled out some white fondant and I'm just cutting out some circles for Minnie Mouse's bow. I rolled out some red fondant. I'm using Wilton fondant here, and I believe I measured a 10-inch or 10.5-inch strip by 4 inches, or no, it was 3.5, I believe. And that's the size of fondant that I rolled out to make the bow, because even though I did a 6-inch cake, I knew when I folded it, I still wanted to have the bow small enough to be on the cake and small enough to see the ears poking around it. But I also wanted to have a nice size, decent bow. I put my white polka dots, and right here I'm rolling up some wax paper because I ran out of paper towels to stuff the bow, and now I'm starting to fold it. I was kind of frustrated because I used the Dollar General fondant for the white dots, and they hardened quicker than I could make the bow. So some of them were like cracking, and I was a little frustrated. So here's the middle part of the bow, and I'm getting that together, and I'm just I'm sitting it off to the side just so it can harden. Now we're taking the black fondant, and I cut out 4, these are kind of thick too, so I wanted them nice and thick. I cut out 4 circles, and I'm putting 2 skewers. Of course, I put water. I put 2 skewers in each one, and then I'm gonna put that off to the side to dry and harden as well. So here's another JB cookie cutter set. This is a small bow set. I have the picture of what it looks like laying there on my mat. I'm making 3 of these bows because I did roll out some black fondant, and I do have an official Disney Mickey Mouse head cutter, and I cut out 3 of those, and then I'm going to put these bows on top of those to, of course, turn it into Minnie Mouse. I just took my little lifting tool that I use a lot, and I just put the little indentations by where the middle knot would be, just to kind of, again, give it that movement, that flow and texture. Here are the Mickey Mouse heads, and now I am placing the little bows on top of them, and these are going to go around the side of the cake. All right, time to cover the cake. I'm rolling out some Cake Boss white fondant, and this is what I'm going to cover my cake with. Thank you, Miss Kara. She's the one that sent me this, so I tried it out. Of course, I'm gonna cover the cake, smooth it out, trim it up, and then I'm going to take a paper towel that I got from dinner, and I am taking vodka, and I'm cleaning the cake board from all sugar, cornstarch, stuff like that, and making it nice and clean. So now I'm placing my Mickey ears on, and I was really kind of seeing where to put it at, and I didn't like it, so I moved them, and then I'm just like positioning everything, and I was pleased with that. So now I'm cutting out some red fondant, and I'm going to make Bella's name. I love these things. These are called tappets, and you just get them nice and clean, and you literally, like, you roll your fondant. I usually cut it in small strips because I just feel like it's easier to work with. You press it on the letter. It's got this cute little curl in it. They're like really fancy, and you literally just fling them out of the cutters. They're called tappets, but they should be like called flings or something, because you literally just fling it out. You just, well, you tap it on the counter, but be careful because I've lost a couple letters across the room before. And then I just put some cornstarch down on the mat because I didn't want them to get stuck to the mat because they're very fragile. And now I'm just trying to figure out my placement. I'm not using any water or anything until I'm happy with the placement, and I played around with it. I played around with the letters and stuff, and then once I'm happy with it, see, I'm still kind of farting around with them, like, oh, I couldn't get it right. But then once I'm happy with the placement, I put just the smallest little dot of water because the Wilton fondant was bleeding so bad. And then now I'm placing on my Mickey head, or Minnie, I should say, Minnie Mouse heads. The only thing I didn't do to the bows that I should have did was put the little white dots on them, and I did not do that, but I felt like it was fine. So I placed my little mini heads going around the side of the cake. Now we're going back in the day. This is how I used to always finish my cakes. I would always put sugar pearls or sixlets or something around the edge of my cake. And since, again, thank you, Miss Kara, she sent me some of the prettiest sugar pearls, and I had a bag of red, and I said, you know what, I'm going to put and finish this cake off with some red sugar pearls. And I think it was a really cute touch. So now that the cake is done, I need to finish up the cupcake toppers. I wanted to put a little a little white strip, because if you know, Minnie Mouse wears that white strip, the cover, like on top of her skirt, that makes a bow in the back. So I just wanted to put that little white strip and on top of the little number 3s to separate the dress from the top. So now I'm just putting my cupcake toppers on. They're ready to go, and everything is finally finished. Alright guys, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video. The Minnie Mouse birthday cake and matching cupcakes are all done, and I gave myself a time limit to be done by 1 in the morning, and it is 12:54. 6 minutes spare, and I also pretty much have everything cleaned up because I clean up as I go. So I don't really have anything to clean up. I'm going to put the cake and the cupcakes in the oven so the cats don't get to them. And yeah, so that is it. One thing I did want to touch base on real quick is that I've never used the Cake Boss fondant before. I don't know if any of you guys have ever used that, and I've never used the fondant to cover, like a store-bought fondant. Like, no, I lied, because I have used store-bought fondant to cover cake. My likes and dislikes for the Cake Boss fondant: I like it because even though I had my cake in the freezer, you know how fondant, especially marshmallow fondant, sweats really bad? Cake Boss fondant did not sweat, and I was waiting for it to sweat, and it never like sweat. So I was like, oh, okay, because I was waiting for it. However, the fondant gets hard as a rock really, really fast. So that I didn't like, which caused a lot of cracking. Like, there is some cracking here. And then the back has like that elephant skin type texture, and all right up here along this top edge. The cake is as smooth can be. Like, the fondant is really smooth, but it gets hard so quick. And I like the fact that it didn't sweat and it cracks. So I didn't like that about it, but I did like the fact that it didn't sweat. The Dollar General fondant that I used, it is like almost like a gum paste almost. I use it a lot for cupcake toppers, and I use it because it gets so rock solid, like a gum paste, like pre-made gum paste or something. I found it's not good to cover a cake, and it's really soft to work with, but once it hardens, it hardens. All my cupcake toppers were made with the Dollar General fondant, the white part of it. Now the red and the black are, as you saw, I bought the Fonderific fondant just because I couldn't get to the store in time to get the fondant that I needed and that I know what to work with. I wasn't a fan. Well, no, okay, no. I am a fan of it. I'm not really a fan of Wilton fondant. I use a lot of Wilton fondant, but I'm not really a big fan of it. The Wilton fondant, the spot, when I didn't record myself, but when I did these dots, they were white. They're now all pink. Every single one of these dots are pink. They're not supposed to be pink. I did them with white food coloring and vodka, and they all turned pink. Anytime, anything, the same with the black food coloring or the black fondant, it bleeds so bad. The red, like any of Wilton's fondant, it bleeds. Now I know you're gonna get that with red fondant and black fondant and things like that. You put a little bit of water on it, but I don't know, I felt like it bleeds really, really bad. But however, the Fonderific fondant, one thing that I liked about that fondant was that even though it was rock hard, I put it in the microwave and it was like so soft, but yet it was like, it had a really good firmness to it. And so I did like that about it. I did like the Fonderific, and it did get hard. It did bleed a little bit, but it did not bleed as much as Wilton Fondant does. So there's like, on my polka dots, on my bow, there are red stains because of the fondant bleeding. I mean, I know that's kind of what you're going to get with red fondant, but it was still frustrating. Alright guys, I'm tired. I have a lot of running to do tomorrow. We have to drop these off by 10 in the morning. And I have a viewing that I'm going to stop by and pop into and pay my respects. And then we have errands to run. And then I want to get a nap in there someplace. And then do all my domestic goddess duties. The last final thing that I need to do as I'm sitting here looking is take my big fluffy cake brush, which is actually like a big blush brush that I've never used for makeup. And I need to clean all the excess cornstarch off of the cake. I'm noticing it on some of the Mickey ears and the bow and on the letters, on the Bella letters. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of the Minnie Mouse birthday cake and cupcakes. If you liked it, give me a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if not, that's fine too. But I will see you in the next video. Bye!